Y'all have had really great dreams today. I could do this all day long, so you guys just tell me what you want to do.
I have another question.
Yes.
Have you ever had empathetic dreams where it was you and your body, but you knew you were someone else feeling what they were going through, and when you woke up, you knew exactly what that was?
Yes, those are more of your intercessor dreams, and intercessors typically have dreams like that. So let's kind of move into question and answer, because I think that'll be a good place. So yes, and typically your intercessors will have those dreams that, and it's given so that you can encounter how they feel, so that you know how to pray and bring ministry to that place. Yes.
What would a robbery in a dream mean?
Theft. Those seeking who he can devour. So devouring. Kidnapping is taking captive. Robbery is coming to take things that don't belong to you. If you're doing the robbing, and if you're doing the robbing, you have to ask, okay, Lord, where am I taking things that don't belong to me? If you're being robbed from, or if you're viewing a robbery, if you're viewing it, it has to do with something that is being taken that isn't theirs. And it also depends on what's being robbed, too.
What about hair color? I have a lot of dreams where I'll see people with they'll have, in the natural they have black hair, and in my dream they have blonde hair. Or I've had a recent dream where it was blonde and then brown. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, we see things, and then we get this dream principle from tongues of fire. And so a lot of times we'll see people in our dreams that are redheaded, and that speaks of power and spirit base. And so oftentimes we correlate blonde hair with angelic understanding. So it may mean or a lot of space.
Or what?
Or just a lot of space.
I like the other one.
So we see blondes as being soft, and it's more of a angelic understanding, and so dark to light. And I think that's when we see tongues of fire, it's bringing, hey, pay attention to this. So when things change on a person, their skin color, their eye color, what their attire, it's saying, hey, pay attention to this, pay attention to this. So hair represents a place of wisdom. It's your covering, but it speaks, if you're getting your hair cut. That's why most of your counselors will go into hairdressing. It's because it's easier, and sometimes people will lean to the natural, easy thing. But what their calling is usually in counseling and stuff. So that's what it keeps they cut your hair, they keep it trimmed. It's your covering, it's your beauty, and it's your grace. And so when those things change on a person, you want to pay attention to those things. Light to dark.
What about if their name, there's a variation, in the dream I knew it was my husband Daniel, but they were calling him Danelle.
Mm-hmm. So anytime someone mistakes your name, go look it up, because what they're actually calling you from the spirit realm.
Because they both mean the same thing, though.
Right.
Danelle means Daniel.
Right, and I think Danelle.
It's like God is my judge.
Right, but Danelle actually is it
the feminine form of Daniel?
I think Danielle.
In Spanish, though, right?
I don't know.
Danelle.
Yeah, Danelle is Spanish. It's a female Spanish. It's a feminine gender of that. Mistaken, it could be that they know who he is in a negative sense. They know who he is, but they choose to see him differently in a negative sense. In a positive sense, it can be because it's not giving a new name, but it's not his name either. So it's almost can be a negative connotation, like call me my name, right? If you're not going to give me a new one, at least call me my name. Mm-hmm. So, but something's off, or they see something off about him. And so it could be revelation saying, hey, we need to pray into this because they're not seeing the perspective of how they're viewing you is incorrect. Can be a place of prayer. Yes.
Okay, so you did all of these very detailed dreams. I have a very simple one.
Okay.
Give it to you. I had this some time ago, and I've researched it, but I still don't have the full meaning. In the dream, I'm standing there, and the Lord says to me, I will be your third finger. The phone rings, I pick it up, it's my mother-in-law, and she said, God told me to tell you he will be your third finger. That was it. And so the baffling part for me is I was like, okay, so do we have 5 fingers or do we have 4 fingers and a thumb? Which one is, you know, I think I have an idea, but I'd love to hear your expertise.
That's a pastoral gift. We go 1, 2, 3. So
Because I
it
didn't think
speaks
you
as
needed to
a,
be my evangelist. I pretty much knew you needed to be my pastoral.
yeah. And again, that's where you would need to use discernment because it could be an evangelistic gift. But I think in this case, and that's, again, it's just a relationship with the Holy Spirit where I get that, because I could have totally have gone, well, you're going to be called to be an evangelist, right? But if you listen to what the Spirit is saying, 1, 2, 3, right? So that speaks of a pastoral, nurturing, shepherding, counseling gift. And he says, I'm going to back you. You don't have to worry about the message. You don't have to worry about what God's doing in your life. He's got you. He's going to come through as that third finger. Yeah. Your mother, and that's the gifting is going to come from the lineage gift through your mother's side.
Come on.
Is going to come down. And are you a first fruit or is your mother saved?
No, I'm not. Generations of godly people.
Of godly people.
And pastors.
So it's just easily going to come down.
And but it was my mother-in-law that called me.
Your mother-in-law?
Mother-in-law.
Oh,
But she comes from generations of pastors too. It's been with God on both sides.
Okay, then that means it's totally different. But it's a gift set that is given to you. What's her name?
Janet.
Because there's a reason why did your mother-in-law tell you this and not call you? And calling in a dream means a calling. So if you wake up to a phone ringing, hey, God's calling you. If you hear a phone ringing in your dream, it's a calling. And when people call you on the phone, it's a calling. No real mystery there, sorry. So Janet, if I could figure out where the ends are.
She said, the Lord said, I will be your third finger.
Yeah, she said, God said to tell you that he will be your third finger. And that was like right after he had just told me that.
Yeah, God is gracious. God's bringing you grace to
Do something I'm not good at.
to move into what he's called you to do. There must have been some hesitancy and resistance in what you feel, or maybe some feeling unsure of what God's called you to. And so he is, for God to speak in a dream is a very strong level of prophetic. So oftentimes that level we dream about ourselves, we dream about others, and then there's angels, we encounter angels, or we have lucid dreaming, then we encounter angels, which in lucid dreaming we have transportations and translations, transportation, translation, and then we move into angelic encounters, and then we move into the voice, audible voice of God, and then we move into Jesus actually comes into the dream, and you have the dream, he takes you back through the dream, and he walks through the whole dream with you. And then he points out all the symbols, and they're nothing like you expected them to, and it really throws you. But he starts to point everything out to you, and he appears in your dream. And so those are different levels of dreaming, and it's a very, very strong call in saying, "Hey, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to do this." And grace is calling you.
When did you have the dream?
When? It's been a couple of years ago. It's been a while.
Have you moved into what God has called you to? Have you gone through any transition from that dream till now?
Yeah, lots of transition, but not specifically pastoral. I mean, I think as far as that goes, that
when I
would
say
be
pastoral, what I mean is a shepherding
yeah, and I think
mentor.
that would be the one. Well,
Yeah,
yes, I
yeah.
do that.
Yeah, that's a mentoring. That's pastoral. We may not give you the name pastor, but that is a pastoral gift that you have.
And what hit me when you said that was, that's your ring finger, so what it was God saying, I'll be your husband. And so I didn't know what was going on in your life, but maybe it was just a time that you really needed some intimacy and some really strong feeling of supported and loved and connected. And so that was what it came to.
Yes.
So, last night I'm in London. I'm in a hot, and I'm it's a dream.
You got your foot.
Yeah. Well, she put up the.
It may have been a dream.
Yeah. Yeah,
I've had
maybe it
some-
wasn't, but she put up that hot air balloon, you know, the picture, and I was in one of those last night. And
That's prophetic.
and I'm looking into the city, and I'm seeing the storm, and I'm seeing a tornado in London, and I could feel the outskirts of the winds, but I wasn't on the front end. I was kind of on the back end where I could get a good view of it and watch it. But I could it was still, the winds were still pushing me in the way that I wanted to go.
I'm looking something up. But you're boring me.
But all of a sudden, this blue jet, it's like a Blue Angel jet. It was coming really low, and I looked at it, and I just knew that it was having engine problems because it couldn't sustain itself in the storm. And but it was designed to go. I knew it was designed to go at least like Mach 1 speeds. But all of a sudden, as I was looking at it, and I was really just enjoying the scenery of this storm. It was gorgeous. But I was also looking at this jet, and then all of a sudden it went. I knew that it all of a sudden it fixed itself, and then it went into an ascent when it was straight up in the air.
Okay, so when we dream about cities, it doesn't always mean that city, especially if you don't have influence or authority in that city. So what we do is, if it's a state, a nation, just like with the Miss America, we looked up the motto of that, the national motto of those two countries, because that's what the Lord was speaking. And the motto for London is, "The Lord will direct and guide us." And so in that place of seeking God for direction, and the hot air balloon is that soaring in that elevated place, which I think was totally prophetic that she had that today. I think it bears witness with what you're saying. And that as a pastor, your influence is over your church. So you're seeing things that are a swirl, but you're spiritual enough to go, that's a divine chaos. And divine chaos always brings divine order.
Yeah.
And so there's no fear there. You know it's directed by God. And the blue jet is, I think, what it signifies is that your ability to see others who are soaring in the spirit when they're having problems. And that you've got discernment to say, ooh, we need to take care of that. Or, you know, and I think it just speaks of where you're at. I think it's self-conditioning. I think it's revelation. But I think that it's confirmation. It's self-conditioning in the fact that it's confirmation that you're where you're supposed to be. Elevated, trusting the Lord's directing you and guiding you. Knowing that white tornadoes typically represent, or what the dreamer says is a beautiful storm, represents divine chaos. And gray or black tornadoes represent a demonic attack, okay? And they usually come in 5. You'll see 5 of them usually. And a God-ordained tornado will appear as 1, and it's got like a gray hue, but it's really white, and it comes to stir things up, create chaos, because just like when you go, hey, I think I'm gonna clean my closet today. What happens? You start cleaning your closet, and it looks like chaos. And you can't stop. Because if your husband comes home and it's like, what'd you do all day? And you've got stuff just thrown everywhere. That has to happen before divine order comes.
Yeah.
And that is just, that's nature.
Yeah.
That's nature. Childbirth is the same way. It's chaos until divine order is birthed. It's pain and blood and screaming and then all of a sudden divine order. Go ahead.
I had a dream a few years ago where I have a lot of tornado dreams, and they're not the good tornadoes. But anyways, a few years ago I had a dream where a tornado was coming, and usually I can hide from them somewhat, seek shelter. But this one, it was like too late, and so I just kind of braced for it. I'm like outside, and then as soon as it got right in front of me, it turned into a man with dark hair, and I knew it was Satan. It's like I knew it, and so I just said, "I rebuke you, Satan." And he just disappeared like that. I was like, whoa, because usually in my dreams,
you're going to
a lot
hide.
of times I have fear and I can't even say Jesus
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yes.
But, is it open to questions still?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have like 7. I dream a lot. But what is teeth falling out?
Well, let's
Like
go
in
back
your
to your
mouth?
tornado dream.
Yeah.
Oh,
Your tornado dream speaks of a maturity in who you are, and God's bringing that self-realization that you're walking into a supernatural authority, and he's showing you that you have the ability to command the chaos to stop in people's lives.
Yay. Come on.
Well, there's a lot of dreams.
Hey, Christy, write that one down.
Are we doing 7 dreams or 7 questions? Because those are 2 totally different things.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Teeth falling out, what does that mean?
yes,
Like all your teeth?
yes. Teeth speak of our identity, and how do we know that? Because if I were to have a missing tooth, I would do this. I would cover myself, right? I would hide. So these teeth speak of your identity. Your eye teeth speak of your prophetic ability to see into the spirit realm. Your molars are what you chew on and you think about. You're taking in and you're digesting. You're eating the meat and spitting out the bones. Teeth can also represent broken relationships, and braces on your teeth can be the start of a very hard season in your life. So I remember I had braces put on my teeth in 2004, and I remember it very clearly. And so it brings alignment into your ability to who you are, what you see, and what you take in and chew on. It brings alignment to those things.
What about a crown?
Well, and to pay attention to your teeth too in the natural, because they are prophetic understandings. And so a crown, especially if you're getting a crown in real life, but losing a crown or putting on a crown is just that there's a crowning taking place. There's an authority taking place.
Cavities mean something? Old.
Take care of yourself. It just means that, maybe you have sat on things too long and maybe didn't cleanse. And a lot of times cavities come in counseling because we take on, but we don't know how to release the trauma of other people and the burdens. And what happens is we develop cavities because we're chewing on those things. We don't know how to get rid of it. And so you're sitting with things that shouldn't be there. Cavities can also speak of negative words coming out. It's not a clean word. It's a word spoken in, if somebody else has cavities in a dream, don't listen to what they say because they're not taking care of some things. If you have cavities, you need to seek the Lord for understanding. If there's broken teeth or, some teeth fall out, you're trying to put teeth back in, all of that. Pay attention to your natural teeth.
I've had a dream, or I've had a couple of dreams in the past few months. One where both of my nieces, they're 3.5 years old. I was watching them run. We were like in a park, and they both just began to shrink. I mean, we're talking from like a regular 3-year-old size to like so small. And then they fell into these 2 holes. And then I went to look at them, and they were covered up in mud. And I was reaching to grab them, and I couldn't. They just kept sinking. And then I had a dream not too long ago, just like a few months ago, or maybe a month ago, anyways, that my mom was shrinking. She went from a normal sized person, and she got so small I could fit her in my hand. And she kept bouncing off the platform. I was somewhere up high, and she was falling low, and every time she hit a platform, she would shrink more and hit and shrink, and there was nothing I could do about it. What does that mean when a person shrinks down to like...
Well, in a negative sense, sometimes if you, in reality, we should be the same size, right? And oftentimes when we take on God-like behaviors, meaning, I think I need to control a situation in your life, we become big, they become small. So one, I would say, okay, is there any place in me that, and I'm saying this because we all do it, not just you, we all do this. Is there a place in me where I feel like, and a lot of counselors do this, they have God-like mentalities because they think they're supposed to fix you. And if they can't fix you, then that reflects back on them. And so we have, and like you're telling people you're mentoring, telling them, but they're not listening. We've made ourselves bigger than them instead of coming up under them and serving them. That's one. 2, can also speak, and I would look at the names of the twins. Are they twins?
No, they're from 2 different, one's from my brother, one's from my sister.
Okay, and I think nieces and nephews speak of mentoring, someone that you're mentoring. Look and see who you're mentoring around you that is maybe taking a back seat, not standing up to their full potential, shrinking back to where they fall in a hole and you're trying to save them. But each time in the dream, you're bigger trying to gain control of the situation. So I'd look more into that.
What about whenever you, this just started the past year, I probably had 3 dreams in the past year, where I'm observing, I told a few women about this at the ladies retreat recently, but I would be observing a situation. I know nothing about these people, not even relationship with them. And something about their situation causes me to start crying so hard. I'm hurting, I'm weeping for whatever it is that they're going through, or even if it's just some kind of sin in their life, and then I wake up and I'm crying extremely hard. But to me, it's like an emotional release for me.
Right. It's a spirit of travail.
It becomes something about me instead of.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's a spirit of travail. God gives us the spirit of travail because there is a place of breakthrough in travail. And sometimes he calls us to break through for other people. It's called a breaker anointing. And so a spirit of travail will come upon you to break through so that they can enter in. And it's a deep intercessory gift, actually. So it is an encounter that God has given you. It's a spiritual gift, just like Solomon and Gideon were given gifts. And in his dream, Solomon was given the gift of wisdom. You've been given the gift of travail. And it's a breaker anointing. And so instead of trying to control people, then, and I'm not saying you're controlling, but it's like we often
She's very real.
Instead of handling it in the natural, we handle it in the spirit realm. So he's giving you the gift to be able to handle it in the spirit realm. Real quick while I'm thinking about it, a lot of times we see on the clock 1, 2, 3, 4 or 11, 11. Pay attention to those things because 11, 11 is divine transition. You oftentimes see 11, 11 appear a lot during election years. Yeah. You'll see it a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you go and look in the Strong's Concordance for 1, 2, 3, 4, it's the Hebrew, the number to break through, to push through, and to push forth. So breakthrough's coming.
What is 11? My husband texted me. It's 11:11.
Yeah, it's prophetic transition.
We've been seeing it like every day.
Yeah, that's good because you want to transition. So it's a prophetic transition. You see those numbers for.
So he's just confirming.
Yeah.
We've seen 1:11 too.
Yeah, mine's 12:12. But I had been seeing 11:11 for years, and just recently I've been, and I'm like. I need a breather. I just need a breather. But you'll see they'll change throughout the different seasons of your life, and just pay attention to it. The more you pay attention to it, what you focus on, you empower and you give room to. And so he'll start to speak to you through numbers. Whenever you dream and you have a specific number in your dream, I was interpreting a dream recently for a girl at a conference, and it had to do, it was like she was given $634. So I went and looked in the concordance, I think it was 634, and it actually meant unity, to bring unity. And I knew that she was going through a divorce. I knew that in the natural. And so I asked her, this is about to get personal. Do you have, do I have your permission to do this? Because when I looked in the concordance, that number had to do with covenantal unity. And so go and look at the numbers in the concordance. When you don't understand a number, go look at the concordance.
Can I see that with the numbers?
We have four more questions. Two.
Writing and I seem to have dreams a lot lately where not lately, but over the past year or so too, but where I jump on a horse and thinking I can ride it, even though I'm not familiar with riding horses, probably been on 2 times in life, but it gets totally uncontrollable. Like I can't control this horse. He's like, I don't even know how to stay on this horse. I guess it's a dream, so I'm able to stay on it, but it's uncontrollable and it's just going wild. Yeah, I would ask yourself, where in my life, and this is key when you're learning how to interpret dreams, take the action word and say, where in my life am I uncovering? Or where in my life do I feel like something is out of control in my life? That you're trying to bring, when we ride a horse, we're in control, right? We do that. And so I'm just going to, control keeps coming up in your dreams. I'm just, I'll say that with all love that I can.
I have, weird things happen in my dreams too that I won't get into, but you're not alone. But, it's that, do you have falling dreams by any chance?
Yeah, falling out
Yeah.
fly a lot too.
Yeah, okay, so falling dreams speak of loss of control. And so there may be an inner healing issue that you've got to get to the root of, because
it's a control comes from fear.
Fear.
So when we've had things in our life where we've not felt safe, or we've had abuse, or we've had fear situations, then our natural response to that is just a human response to fear. So we always want to take what would be the low frequency word of control and go, okay, God, what is the love? What is the love angle of, you're showing me I'm controlling. But what God's really trying to show is, I want to heal you with fear, so you don't feel like you're not in control.
That's mine too, I'm just gonna put that out there, so I'm with you. She can verify that. But
I've never had a dream like this until, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago.
let's go back to the horse real quick.
Okay.
Horses, why are you on an uncontrollable horse versus in an uncontrollable car? Horses represent power and strength. So it's like you have this power and strength, but it may be uncontrollable. It's like you haven't learned how to harness that power and anointing that he has for you.
Okay, I'll have to look back at later. That reminded me of other dreams I have, actually recurring dreams. It's not exactly the same scenario, or not the same area, but it's almost the same thing. I'm in a car, I'm on the highway, and all of a sudden there's like all these accidents happening in front of me, and all these bodies are laid out, and I'm trying my best because I'm going so fast. And as soon as I get up on it, it's like you don't realize it actually happened until you get up on it. You can't slow down in time. You're going to hit somebody, but I'm trying to avoid all the dead bodies in the road. Well, they're actually not all dead.
You must go to church.
I'm sorry, what?
You must go to church.
Oh, yeah.
That's the story of your church life. Just navigate the dead bodies.
Okay. What about time travel?
Well, let's go back to let's give you the real answer. So I think that she's losing control. So I think that, we navigate through things where it looks like that there's going to be a negative impact. We're trying to strategically navigate through things that are death, collision, it's just relationships, right? And so you're strategically trying to navigate through that. But what God is showing you is that it's okay if you get right up on it because you didn't wreck. The resolve is you didn't wreck. It looks like it, right? But you do get through and you do navigate. So release it to him. He's got you. And he's not going to let you collide. And he's not going to let you be one of those dead bodies. I promise.
Okay, this is the last one.
Okay.
It's actually silly, but I think it was about a month ago.
Because the other ones weren't.
Yeah, exactly. But it's about a month ago, and I was outside in a public area where there's shops and restaurants and stuff, and I remember my cousin, who's about 10, 15 years older than me, a male cousin. I enjoy him very much. He's like a brother. But we were just walking through, enjoying the day, and all of a sudden, Gene Wilder walks up to me. You know who he is?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, he walks up to me, or no, he doesn't really walk up to me. I think I walk up to him, well, whatever. I just remember we, came to each other, and I was like, oh my gosh, Gene Wilder, and he's like, yeah, but he was young, like back when he did the Willy Wonka movie. I was like, what year are we in? I actually said, what year are we in? Because I knew he was younger, and I don't know if it was 73 or 74, but as soon as he said that, I looked at my cousin, and I was like, this is before I was ever born. So I know it's silly, but it's interesting because I've never had a dream where I traveled back in time before I was even born.
I'm going to answer this question, not Robin. She's fighting at the do that in your private counseling.
You need to set up an appointment, Christy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Anytime we dream of celebrities, we have to look at the meaning of both names. Both names are very, very important. And also go back and look at their starring role. When I think of this, this celebrity, I think what? What do I think about this celebrity? And that's because you have to go, okay, why Gene Wilder and not Johnny Depp? right? And
How old were you
so,
when you saw Willy Wonka the first time? With Gene
I
Wilder?
was a child, I mean, I might have been 10 or something, it's hard to remember.
and
I just
he
think he's always
said,
a funny guy, I mean, it seems like every movie I've ever seen, it was a comedy.
yeah, it's, I'd like to know what his, if somebody could look up his, and it may be Willy Wonka would be his greatest,
That's the main one that I.
because that's the only one I know him in.
It was in that old Western.
Oh, he was in
Like,
What is Gene?
Young Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah, he was-
Sherlock Holmes'
Yeah.
younger brother.
I think Wilder is, you know,
Young Frankenstein.
lays it down. Oh, what was his main?
From the Wilder.
Your big three are Willy Wonka, Young Frankenstein, and Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles,
I
yeah.
didn't even see
But
Willy
the
Wonka.
one she would know would be Willy Wonka. right?
Willy Wonka. And so what did Willy Wonka represent to you?
Adventure, fun.
Adventure and fun. And I really think, you know, going back to the time issue, and you're like, what year is this? Speaks, you know, there is no time in the spirit realm. There's no such thing. And so God created time to keep balance here, but when we dream, we enter out of time and into the spirit. That's why I can say, were you in London? Because you may have been. It's encounters. And so you operate outside of time, and I think the whole thing has to do with, hey, I'm calling you on an adventure. It doesn't matter the time or what time you've put into it or what, you're not bound by time. What God has for you is not bound by time. And I think the whole thing has to do with that, getting to that reward, that God has an adventure for you and there's a reward on the other side. Jean's name means what?
Means well born.
Huh?
Well born is what this means.
I guess it would be Eugene.
His given name, birth name was Jerome.
Born to nobility or vivacious?
Does vivacious resonate with you?
Not really.
Okay, that's why, because he's saying, hey, I want you to come, because if you think vivacious, you think of Willy Wonka. I mean, and he's calling you to an adventure. Sometimes we say no to the adventure because we can't control it. And I know I'm going back to that, but I want to hit on that because we'll come up with all kinds of excuses to not go on that adventure. And we'll self-sabotage when he's saying, hey, I'm calling you somewhere. Come with me because I got a reward on the other side. But you got to get through this. You got to get through. It's a beckoning. It's a call.
I think too, what hit me, and I don't know in this time, was the kind of childhood innocence where we want life to be. We want the possibility of Willy Wonka, of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You know, kind of having our dreams come true, and kind of that little girl childhood desire, and then life kind of brings this reality check, right? And so, what hit me was just God saying, you know, that adventure, that kind of fantasy of life getting to be somewhat of a fairy tale, like I'm putting that back in your spirit because it's important.
I'm reviving you, which is
Reviving that.
vivacious.
It's important that you keep that you don't lose that sense of wonder of that life, you know, has this fantasy aspect to it, that reality, I'm not gonna let reality destroy that for you. So.
That's interesting because, okay, was it last Sunday? No, the Sunday before, Sunday morning, during worship, I had a lady come and talk to me that really doesn't know me well. She came up to me and she said that she had a word for me, and she started telling me that she said something about the dreams that God has for me. I might not even be able to see them anymore. She said that he's gonna start giving you pictures that you can see these dreams, and they're gonna come to pass no matter what you do because they are his dreams. And it's interesting because I've had I do massage therapy, and I have clients that sometimes will ask me, so, you know, what are your dreams, or what do you want to do in life, or all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't have any dreams anymore, and it's just like, you know, when she told me that, it gave me, you know, give me hope, and so that kind of
Are you,
confirms.
and I'm going to say this because of the massage therapy, are you prophetic? We're all prophetic, but some of us hold the office of the prophet. And the office of the prophet, how you know you hold the office of the prophet is that when you speak, things change. So if you speak into a corporation, you see corporations change. If your influence is in church, you declare and you see those things change. You usually are being brought up before kings. And when I say king, I mean CEO, pastoral. You're always next to a leader. And so do you find that hold the office of the prophet?
That's what I'm aware of. I mean, I'm drawn to being around people that are leaders, but I don't think
But are you
I've been
placed
told that by
by?
many different
Are you-
people that are prophetic
Okay,
that I.
because you probably have a dream interpretation gift. And and where I get that is the massage therapy brings in healing, but it's also almost like a luxury gift. It's kind of like, it's not your medicine gift, but it's that being able to bring release and healing. And most likely, and because you're a strong dreamer in that curiosity. So, and I also remember with Willy Wonka, before they could get to that place, they had to go through all kinds of crazy stuff that nobody liked. It was not enjoyable.
And they broke the sandwich.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they had to break the ceiling off.
Yeah, if I were you, I'd go back and watch that movie again.
That's what she just said.
I'd go back and look for the prophetic utterances in that movie. Go through it, stop it, go and journal through that dream. Just go journal through it.
What are the little people?
And then go find the little people drinking.
I need some chocolate.
All right, one more question, and then we're gonna shut down.
Can I?
Yeah, go.
Okay, what about, I have like I would say they're deja vu. When I've had a dream, I've been in this spot, I don't even remember the dream, it's just a place, and then I'll be there, maybe years later.
And it unlocks on you.
I'll get a little fuzzy, and then I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
I've been here before.
Yeah, because you have. You will be, and you are.
Because it's very simple.
Yeah. It's deja vu is the spirit and the natural colliding together. You feel like you've been there because you have, you will be, and you are, right? It's the quantum understanding of the spirit realm. And so what happens is you think, oh, have I dreamed this before? Because you did, because dreams are just spirit to spirit communication. So oftentimes when that dream vanishes or we have to chase, it just kind of floats away, it's actually sealed. Remember in Job, it says, I sealeth your instructions, right? I sealeth your instructions. And so those dreams, even though we don't remember them, they get sealed into our hearts. And they sometimes, when we're in a situation, they'll unlock on you. And it's like one of those, whoa. And you think, okay, why? But it's that recognition that you're where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there.
I'm like, am I supposed to be looking for something right now?
Yeah. You can actually practice. Yeah, you can play with it. And if you just sit real quiet, you can actually have deja vu lengthen on you. And you can get in there with it and work with it instead of it being freaked out by it and start questioning. Or what you'll do is you'll try to think about what's going to happen next, right? Don't do that. Sit in it. Don't do that. Don't think where, why, how. Just begin to sit in the deja vu, and it'll start to expand on you. That's really weird. I love deja vu. Deja vu it's confirmation. Kids have it all the time, but it's and it's the one thing that scientists say. We think you're tired. Your brain synapses are off. It's that one thing. It's like scientists can't seem to why? Because it's spiritual by nature, and you can't. And it really is that moment that, hey, he's got you, and you are on the right path because your instructions have been sealed within you, and he unlocks them so that you understand.
One question.
Yes.
That's a good one, yeah.
Okay. So do you think that if you've been talking about a person or that person's still in your life, but there's been trauma, it gets in your dreams? Because I went through a really bad divorce and there was a lot of trauma, and it's like I actually asked God to take my ex-husband out of my dreams because I don't want him there.
Yeah.
And
Well, you're one, and just because you divorced doesn't make that not true, right? And so we find with married couples that you begin dreaming the same dreams as each other. You have dreams for each other because you really are one. And so that tearing away creates trauma. And you will begin, and a lot of times, I hear this all the time. Divorced women who were generally not the issue in the divorce will always continue having dreams about it's very common. And that healing comes when you're able to say, don't take them from me, let me pray for him.
Yeah. I mean, I have
Yeah.
started that, recently.
That's where that
It's taken me a
healing comes
while.
from, is where you're not trying to enter into the tearing away, but you enter into the, let me pray for restoration, not between you two, I don't know, but that there is that, that there is that restoring of one's soul, restoring of one's,
Am I praying for him?
if
Like
it comes
for
up,
his
I would.
life, or
Yeah, I think
for-
within the dream, what is it saying? Now, your ex-husband can also represent a negative aspect of something that's coming against you too, so.
Or God is trying to reveal the hurt from you from that marriage that he's wanting to bring up to bring healing to.
So don't,
Keep
yeah.
putting him in my dreams?
Yeah.
Well, because that he was the
Triggers.
trigger. That reliving that event would be the trigger for that emotion or that belief that he's trying to uncover.
How long does that take?
Listen, I've been asking that question for 8
You
years.
can answer that, I got another question for
I
you.
told her, I'm like, are we done
It
yet?
depends on what you do with it when you get it.